the trust factor. Are they going to be where they need to be when they need to be there? That's one. And then if that's 1A, 1B is the ability to make plays. And he's flashed for us a little bit. And again, it started in practice. And then some opportunities on Saturday. And so that's a guy, when you do those things, and you got to make a determination as a staff, is like you're saying, is what's the best position for him on the current roster to help us in 2018. And so we've kind of looked at a number of different spots, really from corner. He got some safety reps at the tail end of the game this past Saturday, and that was by design, although that's the newest position for him, and then played quite a bit of nickel as well. And so we got to find, ultimately you got to zero in somewhere, otherwise you stunt the growth of the individual. But like I said, it stems from the ability to not only be where you need to be when you're supposed to be there, but the ability to make plays. And so been very pleased with his progress. Really has taken a major jump through fall camp, and you saw flashes, but the ability to prep for a Saturday and perform on a Saturday has been really positive.
Hey Alex, one thing that Jeffrey Okuda said Saturday was that you and Greg Schiano were both sort of preaching that this defense hasn't come close to reaching its ceiling yet. One, why is that your message to them? And two, how far away are they?
Well, I think there's a number of things attached to that. I mean, number one, I think we would stand by that comment through 4 games. I don't think the standard here is even close to being met. The fortunate thing, you're able to say that with a 4-0 record. And so obviously the number one goal is to hold the opponent to 1 less point than the offense scores. But obviously our goals are much higher than that. You run the risk early in the season on either side of things to when things are going positive, that you get all figured out, and the next 8-9 games are going to be a breeze for you because of how you performed in the first 3 or 4. The flip side is probably inappropriate to circle just the bad plays that you had in the first couple of games and say, well, that obviously is going to continue over the next 8 or 9 weeks. And so it's appropriate on our part to evaluate exactly where we are, and it's our determination that like Jeff said, we have not played our best game. We believe that the personnel that we have suggests we can be better, we need to be better, we should be better. And then what you do is you point the finger back at yourself as a coach and the coaching staff that, really as you analyze it, you look at 3 areas, and it starts with scheme. Number 2 would be execution, and number 3 is personnel. And so you kind of look at all 3 of those phases, and I think as a coach it's appropriate that you do so in that order. A fan has a tendency to a lot of times look at number 3 and look at personnel and kind of go backwards in that. But in any event, oftentimes it's not one or the other. It's kind of a combination, or 2 or 3, or some of those things. So all those things are being evaluated because when we say that to the players, it's not as if we point fingers at them and say, it's on you. It's on all of us. But the reality is that we got to get better, and we got to be better this Saturday.
As our defensive expert this week, why is it that games like this seem to come down to defensive line play so much? I mean, you had a Nick Bosa walk-off sack, Sam Hubbard's tackle of 2 Penn State guys, you had a blocked field goal going the other way. All defensive line plays that have determined games in this series. Why is it that, I know it's always true that the game's won in the trenches, but why does it seem so much more so when it's Penn State?
I think what you're highlighting as much as anything else is just impact players. And people talk about, in these type of games and these type of atmospheres, those individuals for either side, have to step up. Your best players have to play their best. If they don't, it's very difficult having success against, such a, you're talking about a top 10 opponent, perennial on a year-to-year basis, and certainly they are. And so I think that's what it stems from, and hopefully we can get some production from a number of layers of our defense, but certainly, like you're saying, it all starts up front.
The safety Alex, how long does it take to know when a recruiting class hits?
Oh, I think it's difficult to determine. I think every guy's development is different, and I think it's appropriate that you allow their development to be individualized. It's kind of like as you assess, maybe the going back to where are you as a defense? Okay, where are you as a class? I think you have to be able to maybe look through some of maybe the individual mistakes on a given day and say, well, this guy's developing in the weight room. He's developing from a speech standpoint. you know, and another individual that you're awfully excited about right now just simply might have the, you know, a little bit cleaner mental aptitude at this point. But from a physical and athletic standpoint, there's an individual in our program that may not be getting as much work as that individual, just simply because the learning curve has been such. And so, you know, with that, I think it's tough to decipher, and then sometimes it stems too from the depth that you have on your football team.
But you can tell, I'm assuming, that even if they don't play right away, or
Sure.
that you can tell that this class that we brought in is going to change this program. And I don't know, does it take 4 years for you to determine that, or can you feel when these guys step in, even if they've got work to do or things to improve on, or
Sure.
you know, size, strength, all the things that people need to do?
Yeah.
You can just, I don't know, I feel like
I think to a point. I think to a point, and I think you're accurate. You know, to a point. And why I say that is simply because, you know, if they're not where you want them 2 years from now, doesn't mean they won't be there 4 years from now. And to put that all on 25 guys is very difficult to do. I will say this, that as you look through, you know, the current class of the 2018 guys that are freshmen, awfully excited about the athleticism in that group. And so, you know, guys that we think can have a major impact, you know, in the majority of cases, more future than present, but not for the lack of ability.